Okay, before you joined politics and before you joined the cabinet, you were known as a human rights lawyer.
I still am.
You still am. And well, people are saying after you worked for this president, people are questioning your credentials in human rights. Will human rights still figure in your camp now that you're running for the Senate? Will it still figure in your campaign?
I spent 16 months in Congress. I had most of the major bills enacted in the 17th Congress, enacted into law. They all advance human rights. What were these? Universal health care. And how did I manage to pass that in the first 16 months of my term? Because I had the president certify it as urgent. We have free lunch program for starving children. That's upholding the right of the child and upholding the right to food. Again, it was included in the legislative agenda of the president upon my request. I have now the free irrigation law for up to 8 hectares of land. That's the right to food. That's the right to life for the farmers. Again, it was included in the legislative agenda of President Duterte. There's free education in all state universities and colleges. That's upholding the right to education, which even the economic managers wanted the president to veto, but he said, no, education is important to the youth. That's advancing the right to education and the rights of the child. No? There's even the right to Wi-Fi, which is recognized as a new human rights. No? Perhaps people forget that civil political rights are one class of rights, but economic, social, cultural rights are another class of rights, none of which is more superior than the others. They're interrelated and they're of equal importance. So I find it difficult to understand how anyone can accuse me of not promoting human rights when I have a solid legislative record of having passed policies and laws that promote the human rights of everyone. I filed 263 bills of national significance in the 16 months I was in Congress, and part of that is, of course, still to protect human rights. And that's why amongst the bills that I will reintroduce in the Senate is the right to food bill, because again, that goes to the right to life. No? The right to food bill seeks to put an end to poverty in the Philippines in a time frame of 7 years by creating a commission on food sustainability and by ensuring that all resources of government are used properly to end poverty. There's also the right to water bill, which ensures water sustainability. No? We're not noticing it, but water is becoming as expensive as diesel nowadays. And that's why it's important to start thinking of solutions about how to reuse rainwater, for instance, flood water for purposes of irrigation and even for drinking. No? There's also the creation of a Department of Overseas Filipino Workers because, you know, OFWs must be protected. And I think that the numbers of Filipinos now working abroad defy the logic behind what we refer to as consular services, which is a traditional function of a Philippine mission abroad. No? And I think we owe it to them, after all, they contribute much to our GDP, that we have a specialized body to take care of their welfare so that people wouldn't have to learn all over again whenever there's changes in postings, no, which they have regularly in the DFA. No? There's also the right of internally displaced persons. No? Unfortunately, I left this behind, but had we enacted this into law, we would not have treated the civilians displaced by the fighting in Marawi as if they were begging for assistance. No? They would have been entitled to compensation because they were displaced from their places of residence as a result of the conflict in Marawi. No? So 283, I could go on and on, but
do you have any proposal to improve, let's say, the criminal justice system?
Yes, I think the criminal justice system in the Philippines sucks. It sucks big time. And the reason is we adopted the American system of adversarial system, which was intended for a jury in the first place. What's the difference there? In an adversarial system, it's lawyers that present evidence, the judges receive them. But the difference is in the American system, once they begin, because there's a jury of your peers determining guilt or not, you have to continue until it's ended. No? We adopted the adversarial but left it to a judge. And of course, nothing ever finishes in court. That's why the Maguindanao massacre has taken place for 9 years. So I propose we turn to what is known as an inquisitorial system, where judges themselves will look for the evidence after defining what the issues are. And of course, he will ask, where's the evidence? And if the parties refuse to submit the evidence, he will ask why. I've seen actually how this works in a court in Switzerland. In a day's time, they finish the hearings.
Harry, you raised a valid and fair question where you said, why am I being asked about my time as a spokesperson when I'm here and we are here to talk to you as a candidate? That's a fair question. So let me just try to reassure you also. I'm asking that, and we're asking that, because the people want to know what kind of a senator you will be. Now, with the limited number of guests we've had so far who are running for senator, let's broadly, of those allied with the administration, let's broadly group them into two. There are those like General Bato, who was here recently, who said na magiging senador ako kasi kailangan ng kakampi ng presidente sa Senado. And then there are those who say that magiging senador ako kasi I have my own advocacy and I have my own cause and I will be independent of the president. And that's why we're asking about your time, and that's why we think it's relevant. What kind of a senator will you be when you become senator? Are you with General Bato, that I will be there so that I will be on Team Duterte? Or are you going to be senator because you fully intend to be independent?
I will be senator because I have proven my competence as a legislator in Congress, having passed the most number of laws of national significance in a time span of 16 months. And I will be a good senator because I am who I am. I am Harry Roque. I am independent, and no one can tell me what to do and what not to do.